Hello there, welcome back to my readings of The Projection of the Astral Body by Sylvan, Muldoon and Hereward, Carrington. So following on from previously, we're up to page 222, What is Will? So thank you very much once again for following along. If you could subscribe to the channel, I'd be very grateful. Love to be able to go live and have live discussions about the subject of astral projection. I know that I'm a long way off, or it seems like a long way off, but I'm getting there little by little. Okay, page 222. What is will? Excuse me. What is the subconscious will, you may ask? Allow me to quote C. Franklin Leavitt. A lot of nonsense has been written about the cultivation of will. Most books on the subject get a person nowhere, for they do not explain the process of willing. We have a habit of thinking that to will means making oneself do something, getting into action or effort. It does mean making oneself do something. It means getting into action mentally. It means effort of the attention. William James points out that this is all will amounts to. Attention, simply to hold the attention upon a certain thought or idea until it fills the mind and crowds all other ideas out of the consciousness. You will have a little trouble making yourself do a certain thing if no other idea is allowed to stay in your mind, for the ideas which impel one to action are those to which dominate the consciousness, those which possess the attention. Those resolutely and determinedly make plans for carrying your thoughts into action. Concentrate. Shut out all opposing thoughts. In time, you will find yourself acting in accordance with these thoughts. After you have acquired this dynamization of projection, after you have your subconscious mind completely saturated with the knowledge of and the desire for projection of the astral body, then your hardest task is over. But remember, above everything else, that your mind must be dominated by this knowledge of and desire for that you wish to seek. Then the stress of it stays on the surface of that mind while you sleep. You have the knowledge of the art, and the desire stimulates the subconscious will performing the projection. Typical dreams of projection. Dynamization of projection should produce a dream of projection, and always will if the astral body is in a particularly conscious condition and the stress of projection, is active during sleep. The substance of the dream of projection will depend upon the degree of understanding of projection in your mind. Therefore, it is of vital importance to have a thorough understanding of the phantom's actions and of its route after separation. Now, do you see the fundamental principle of dream control? Trying to dream a dream which is true concerning the phantom. The easiest way to produce such a dream is to have the understanding and desire for protection take such a grip on your mind that you cannot go to sleep without thinking about it. Then, when you do go to sleep, the stress is still there. It is the stress which does the business. The stress in this case consists in suggesting the very thing you are trying to accomplish. You will remember that I stated that dream control was the easiest method of projecting the astral body. Now I am telling you that dynamization of projection is the easiest method of dream control, for the dynamization of a desire for and knowledge of the astral body's movement will produce the proper dream. For many years my mind was completely dynamized with projection. In fact, I could think of nothing but projection of the astral body, and I would have dream after dream, night after night, that I was projecting the astral body, and in many of these dreams I would become conscious while projected. In the dream of projection, I would sometimes dream that I was lying horizontal just above my body, even knowing the dream that I was dreaming that is the difficult thing to comprehend. And then I would dream of moving over the route which the phantom actually takes on projecting. One is so near the true consciousness when he dreams that he is dreaming, and it is a dream of projection. That true consciousness cannot seem to keep from intervening, and that is how most of my conscious projections came about. On other occasions the dream would vary. Instead of dreaming that I was rising in the astral body, I seemed to be standing to one side, watching the astral body project, and then after a while I would get into the astral body, sometimes continuing to dream of being there and sometimes actually awakening in it. There are several possible, though purely theoretic, explanations which I might advance to account for this. Thus, I once noticed that the instant I dreamed of getting into the already projected astral body, I became conscious in that body. Keep in mind that the consciousness withdraws from the astral body when the unconsciousness is produced. It is not the astral body's withdrawal from the physical body which causes unconsciousness. Never. For the astral body can be conscious outside the physical body, and the astral body can be unconscious inside the physical body. And the astral body can be unconscious within the physical body. Because the astral body moves into the zone of quietude during sleep, this does not in any sense denote that the astral body's withdrawal is the cause of unconsciousness. It merely occurs in that way, merely appears. But withdrawal of the astral body from the physical body and the intervention of unconsciousness, while usually occurring almost simultaneously, are entirely separate functions. If we became unconscious every time the astral body withdrew from the physical, there could be no such thing as a conscious astral projection. As a matter of fact, many of us can, in the hypnagogic state, when entering sleep, move into the zone of quietude, perhaps only a quarter of an inch of discoincidence, and still be conscious, not realizing the fact that we have done so, and suddenly repercuss in the physical body. This is a very common occurrence, because unconsciousness usually occurs when entering sleep, just an instant before we make the transit into the zone of quietude. Many occultists have seized upon the idea that the withdrawal of the astral body is the cause of unconsciousness, but that is a mistake. It is true also that we can be unconscious in the physical body for some time before the astral body moves into the zone of quietude. This is especially true when the body is under the influence of some stimulant. Thus, there are exceptions to the rule as to when the astral body moves into the zone of quietude, the rule being that it does so immediately after unconsciousness has set in. In some persons it moves sooner, in others later, depending entirely upon the condition of the individual at the time. One can easily see that, in order to have a conscious projection, conscious from the beginning, one should be of the type or make-up which begins to make the transit into the zone of quietude before unconsciousness sets in. This condition of the individual is brought about by several factors, temperament, incapacity, etc., as we have already seen. Knowing that it is with the withdrawal of consciousness from the astral body which produces unconsciousness, we might in this manner account for the dream in which one dreams that he is projected in the astral body, but is apart from that body, looking on because the real consciousness is apart from the body, and this theory becomes still more probable in those cases when one has a dream of projection, wherein he is apart from the astral body, looking on, watching its movements, and then getting into the body, and being conscious in that body the moment he dreams of getting into it. Now, if full consciousness withdraws from the body when the astral body is unconscious, consciousness must be partially withdrawn from the body when it's partially conscious. And in a dream of this nature, when one dreams that he is watching the astral body's movement and then gets into it, is it not possible for that portion of the consciousness which was withdrawn from the body actually understood, or perhaps even more refined body, coinciding with the astral body, could withdraw in such a dream and look on as the astral body followed its route, then go over and get into the astral body again? At any rate, these are two typical dreams of projection which I had when dreaming of projection. First, dreaming that I was in the astral body moving over the route of the phantom while projecting. Second, dreaming that I stood apart from the astral body, watching the astral body go over the route, and that I would then get into it. If you will think back, you will recall that I mentioned that one can sometimes see the astral body from the physical eyes, because of the circuit of sighting running across the astral cable. Now, if one can see this while conscious, why not while partially conscious and thus dreaming that he is standing to one side, watching the astral body move? For my part, I believe that this is a plausible explanation of such a dream of projection, when we dream that we are watching the astral body project. The most direct way, and certainly the most sensible way, of creating the proper stress in the subconscious mind, which will suggest itself during sleep, is the way I have just pointed out to you: dynamization of projection. Why, I would ask you? You should go to the trouble of saturating your mind with a habit which is unrelated to the projection of the astral body, merely because the stress of the habit will impress on the subconscious. When you can saturate your mind in the same manner with the desire for and knowledge of the art, and thus be enabled to dream directly of what is occurring instead of dreaming of some habit, for example, your routine. How to instill the stress of routine, page 226. Excuse me. However, if you wish to put a stress of routine into your subconscious mind, which will assert itself while you sleep, you must direct all your conscious willpower upon this routine. You must stick with determination to your course throughout the day, never diverting from it under any circumstance. Go to bed on time, get up on time, eat your meals on time, performing your duties regularly and conscientiously day after day, until the routine becomes a part of your very life, until your mind has crowded all other impressions into the background, and you are almost automatic in performing the routine. With your mind so saturated with the stress of the habit, you must hold the vision of yourself performing the routine as you rise to sleep, instigating complete passivity of the physical body prior to taking up the vision of the routine. The subconscious will act according to the power of the suggestion. We enact habits for one of two reasons, or perhaps in some cases for both. These reasons are: 1, because we desire to perform the duty, and 2, because necessity compels us to perform the duty. Granting this to be true, the stress of the routine in the mind will impress the subconscious will accordingly. If you desire the routine, the subconscious will move the body more easily than if you were compelling yourself to perform the routine through necessity, which means simply that desire plus habit will dominate the subconscious will more completely than habit alone. Dynamization of projection is much easier to put into the subconscious mind than dynamization of a routine, for the routine is too commonplace to grip the mind as powerful as astral projection. The supernormal will grip it. To me, attempting to develop projection of the astral body by the tenacious habit method seems empathetically the most difficult method of all, and, if I am any judge of human nature, most people will have no inclination to stick so tenaciously to their daily commonplace routine. Dynamization of projection is far ahead of dynamization of a routine in the production of astral projection, as the steamboat is ahead of a sailboat, yet either will lead one eventually to the destination he is seeking. Develop a strong habit of the study of the astral projection. Make a routine of the practice of the art. Desire the ability to project in your astral body so strongly that your mind is dominated by astral projection. Induce complete passivity of the physical body and rise to sleep. Visualizing the route of the phantom invariably takes on projecting. That is the way to project at will. You may think it pretty difficult to project the astral body after all, but when you stop to think that the very cause of astral projection come about unknowingly at times, it should convince you that to instigate these causes intentionally should not be such an exacting task after all. How to instill the stress of thirst. You will find that in promoting a stress of desire which is not directly for projection, that the desire for drink is the most easily instigated and the strongest possible creation of stress. If you think that thirst not stress creating, just try and see how long you can go without water. Drink is a necessity. Thirst must be quenched. the mind becomes determined to satisfy the desire, and in projection of the astral body, the subconscious will acts in a like manner. A method, and one which I have proved to be successful in promoting projection of the astral body, is following. First, deprive yourself of drinking for a considerable period of time before retiring, presuming, of course, that you are attempting the experiment on going to bed at night. The length of time during which you must refrain from taking liquids into the system must be calculated by yourself, as different individuals vary as to the amount of liquid required. It is a good plan to begin in the morning, to deprive yourself of drink, and if the desire becomes too intense as the day progresses, take a sip of water now and then, temporarily to allay the desire. Toward evening, just before retiring, if the desire for water becomes too intense, take a few sips of salt water. Okay, so just a reminder, as I have in other books, in other chapters of this book is very old, so we have to take into account that medical science and the effects of salt and not drinking has advanced, not quite a lot, but it has advanced and branched out into other avenues. I myself would not drink salt water because it's detrimental to my health personally, and I also wouldn't deprive myself of water. So take this into account with your own medical health, and of course I'm not recommending any time that you should take on any practices that you are not familiar with, and also there are other more modern ways of being able to reach this state of astral projection. This is just an early recollection and studies, but I would not recommend drinking salt water. However, as an individual, you take responsibility for your own actions. Okay. In this way, you satisfy the desire in some degree for a short interval, but the desire comes back stronger than ever later on. Also, during the day, try to increase the desire for a drink by almost drinking, thinking of drinking, gazing into a tumbler of water, etc. Just before you go to bed, place a glass of cold water in some place where you are accustomed to getting a drink, say in the sink in the kitchen. Take a chair and look into the glass of water, concentrating upon the water in the glass. Keep your eyes fixed upon the water, and as you do so, center your mind upon your astral body, visualizing it as leaving your physical body in the room where you sleep, and travelling to the sink to drink the water which is before you in the glass. Have this vision of the route which the astral body will take in going to the sink for water firmly fixed in your mind. Repeat this mental process again and again, all the while gazing steadily at the glass of water. Now you are ready to go to bed and to sleep. You are thirsty when you do so, but forget about that thirst and begin thinking of your heart, slowing it down by concentrating upon it. If you cannot possibly go to sleep, you will then have to take another sip of water, preferably salt water, and the desire will keep on increasing after you sleep. But the fact that you cannot go to sleep with ease shows the stress of thirst is very strong within you, and this same stress, which is keeping you awake so long, is the stress which will impel the subconscious will to move the body after you do go to sleep. As you fall asleep, keep thinking of the glass of water. Keep thinking of your astral body moving out and going to the glass of water. If you have the proper incapacity induced in the physical body, the astral body during sleep will move away from the physical and attempt to appease the desire. The route that you pre-planned will at once suggest itself, and the body will travel over that route. I want to tell you that this is an extreme exercise and will easily move the astral body, for, as a matter of fact, the desire for water alone will move the astral body, and the mind will direct the body over a route to some place where one can drink, without pre-planning the route and place. Yet, in going to the above extreme, the exercise, you are more sure of success. Okay, so we'll finish on page 228. So a brief, I have reached this stage where I've planned my route. I've got myself into, but I did it in the daytime, which the majority, 90% of the time, it's less successful to be doing this in the daytime. or so the theories would suggest. I find that because I generally do my practice of astral projection, sorry, my cat's bell is ding-linging. My practice generally comes in the daytime, so therefore my conscious will is aware that I'm already setting myself up for astral projection in the daytime. That's where it differs for me. Because I have family, I live with my husband and my family. I do not attempt to do this whilst they're all asleep, because I don't feel morally that's okay, just in case I'm, you don't know what's control of your body. You're walking around, you don't want to frighten anybody, I don't know. So anyway, my experience being is that I'd got into my hypnagogic state, I was in the dream state, I was completely focused on leaving my body, and that was all fantastic. I felt the overwhelming sensation that my phantom had left my body, and that was fantastic. So I'd got up out of my astral body. I was aware and sensed that my physical body was in the position that I had left it. And I knew that my body had left, and I was just standing by my bedroom door. And then the fear set in. This was the first time, though, the fear set in. So I was desperate to turn around, but I couldn't seem to get my conscious will to tell my subconscious that I wanted to look at myself. And before I knew it, I was back in my body. But it was quite an experience. It was probably one of the most memorable, most compelling, notable achievements and milestones in my astral projection journey. Another time that is quite significant is losing the element of time. So, and I can assure you this is not a dream state. It's very, very different. And if you've experienced genuine projection of the astral body, you will understand completely what I mean. So another occasion, I'm well versed in putting myself in this state in order to achieve astral projection, to walk beyond the veil, just beyond the veil, but in reality. It's amazing. It's an amazing, when I say it out loud, I think, my goodness, this is amazing. But I've worked hard to get to this stage. Very difficult, very hard, brainstakingly hard. So when I do reach certain milestones on my astral projection journey, I am elated, and I do pat myself on the back because of it. So losing the concept of time was, I was being pulled in and out. So, but my concept of time was no different. Nothing was changing. So I was coming out of my body. I was by my window, and I was immediately pulled back. And then I could feel the weight in my physical body going back and then out again. And I was out, and it was pulling me back and forth. It was probably the most alarming, where I've come out of the hypnagogic state, the zone of quietude, and I've brought myself back round, where I've actually thought, whoa, something's, I need to rethink that situation, because I felt like I was being pulled back and forth. So my physical body was trying to get me back, but my conscious will was saying, no, we've got this far, we need to keep going. But so there was a battle between the two. Pulled back, pushed out, pulled back, pushed out. So my conscious and my subconscious were battling with each other. And then finally, and I've since then, that was probably about 18 months ago, but since then I've had that occasion once or twice, and it's probably the most alarming sensation. I know when my subconscious, because I believe that my subconscious absolutely knows that I'm capable and willing to do this, but my conscious mind is telling me, pull me back. I have been in a meditative state where my body is literally rocking. This is in this book. My body is rocking to let my astral my phantom release from my body, but my conscious is not allowing it to happen. And I've also felt my body in a figure of 8 movement like this. So it's going like this, where I can feel that I'm trying to, my phantom is trying to leave, but my subconscious is keeping it in, and there's a battle between the two. But anyway, so if anyone's got any questions or wants to have a discussion about their experiences with astral projection and what stage they're at with their projection of the astral body, whether they are experimenting and detailing and documenting the same kind of experiences I am with the actual, not just dream state astral projection. This is actually using your subconscious will to move out of your physical body. I love lucid dreaming. I love to hear about anybody's experiences with lucid dreaming, and whether they've come across another person, or somebody has affected their dream state and entered their dream state with the intention to meet them in the dream world or on the astral planes. I'd be very interested to know. So much love, everyone. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time, and I'll speak to you soon. Goodbye.